Scentland, the land of scent. Didn't travel far enough. Good morning, everyone. You might be wondering what I'm doing here. By the way, I'm Chris, and this is another fragrance review from Scentland, the land of scent, as I've mentioned. Well, I'm doing my morning exercise. Some people do jogging, some people do stretching, some people do yoga. I do warm up with Red Bulls, and it's not as easy as it seems. At all. And nevertheless, it's still a fragrance review. And let's take this. Try this long one there. Oh. And now this one here. Let's see how this works out. There we go. White ball, and give it a little bit of a spin. Wait, there's something wrong. What the heck is this? Is this a golf ball? Is this an unidentified rolling object on a snooker table? No. This is something completely different. This is Bijan Men. And this is going to be the center of today's attention. It is a, as you can see from actually the bottle. Oh, this baby has a bottle that is extremely special. I've never seen anything like this. Bring it close up again. You'll see that this particular bottle looks, actually, this is worth just have a look at, you know. It is a special design, we can say so, and Bijan Men takes this design with their new releases as well. This fragrance, and before we start about the fragrance, you can watch the bottle throughout the video. It's worth it. Before we start, a few words about Bijan, because it's an American company, not very well known. It's not very well known here in Europe. I think in the US it's a landmark, and I know that the Bijan clothing line is actually dressing up the presidents of the United States, including the Bushes, even Obama, and also on the other side, Putin is wearing Bijan suits as well. And this particular fragrance that you see there has been introduced to the market in 1981, and it has been relaunched during the 80s in 1987. I remember it being very popular throughout the 80s, and it has won the 1988 Fifi award. So you would really wonder what this fragrance is all about, and it gets a lot of love on fragrance communities, but it gets out there a lot of disappointment as well, because it is your typical 80s powerhouse stuff. It really is. The nose behind it, well, the nose behind it might be Peter Böhm, James Krivda, or Givaudan, who are a French house basically a crowd that has the world's largest perfume factory, as far as I know, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure whom actually has done this fragrance, but again, it's a typical 80s powerhouse there. And why is that? It's because of the tons of bass notes and top notes and mid notes. First of all, a little bit more about Bijan before I forget. It actually it's interesting because it has been founded by Bijan Men, a Persian businessman who went to the United States. Immigrated there in 1973, and then opened with a partner together his first boutique in 1976. So it only took him 3 years to open after immigration to open a boutique in Beverly Hills. So that's a nice one. This fragrance came out then 5 years later, the tons of notes I have mentioned are interesting because it's your typical 80s. Which one should I take? Typical 80s. Yeah, typical 80s bomb there, because it has your mandarin, has your lavender, nutmeg, oak moss, honey, fir, amber, rose, tarragon, leather, all that. Yet, if you smell it, and I don't spray it on this morning because I have Lorenzo Villoresi's Incensi incense scent on, but I can vividly remember this one from top to dry down. You can see I used it as well. So tons of notes, but what it comes down to is really the lavender, the nutmeg, the honey, before I forget, honey, the lavender, and I mentioned, and oak moss, I mean tons of oak moss, really. It's really your 80s oak moss, lavender, honey bomb. It is camera hit. It is quite a bomb, quite a statement, very powerful. I think actually that, talking about American presidents, that Ronald Reagan wore this, and a few big actors of Hollywood have worn this fragrance. So this one, even though we don't know it in Europe, it is as I said, it's a landmark in the US to this day. So this is still in production, and you know, if you like powerhouse 80s powerhouse fragrances, this is something for you, definitely, no question. Oak moss, honey, lavender, mandarin, a bit fresh, but then it's just you know, it is really your powerhouse, including sillage, projection, longevity. It's all in that baby there. It has everything you want from an 80s powerhouse. It doesn't let you down. You know, in the 80s, honey, oak moss, lavender have been used quite often. Somehow, in its whole vibe, it reminds me of Boss #1. You know, the Boss from 1985. That's what it reminds me of a little bit. But this is you know, probably a bit more stylish, or it doesn't have probably that honey as strong as it is in Boss #1, but nevertheless it's still a powerhouse, as I mentioned it. So that has an influence on what? On the age of the wearer. If 19-year-old guy decides to use this, then it's good warming up today. Then he must face negative compliments, especially these days. Or negative feedback. Compliment. Again, can a compliment be negative? I don't know. My English is not good enough for that. But it's not your compliment getter. It's your statement maker. And I think this is why also all the famous and rich people have worn it or are still wearing it, because it really is your statement maker. You can expect that you get noticed inside or outside of a room or in the outdoors. Anywhere. It's gonna make a woo, close one. I mean to the bottle, not to the pocket. So it is your sillage, projection, and longevity monster. This lasts 20 hours more on clothes. Ha! Clothes, it goes with you for 48 hours or more. If you spray this on your shirt, even your hair, my goodness me, it's gonna be there. And it has actually a nice aroma. It's not bad. It's don't be scared. Try it. It's not a blind buy, right? It's not something that you should order without smelling it, because I've seen on Fragrantica, probably on Basement, I don't know anymore. There was a guy that has commented that, you know, after all these reviews, I was really looking forward to this. Today it arrived, and I have never smelled a more awful fragrance than this one. That can be one comment. But to fragrance lovers, the collectors, I mean, look at the bottle there. In a collector's collection, it has to be there. And the fact that this fragrance is not a niche, it's a designer, is as popular with you know, the leading man of the world as any niche fragrance. Again, it's a reason to have it in your collection. And yes. Sorry for that. It therefore is something that you know, if you're a fragrance lover and you're curious about the 80s, this is a player of the 80s powerhouse that you should be getting. It's still widely available online. It's not in Europe. You cannot find it in any fragrance shop or anything like this. But online, it's very easily to get. No problem with that. Occasion. Well, again, what's the occasion? The occasion is whenever you want to make a statement, reach for it. Whenever you want to feel really masculine and you know, the big man, like the big man, put this on. If you're prepared to handle negative feedback from male and female alike, you know, it's no problem for you wearing it. I've worn it few times. It reminds me of things in the past, good things actually. So there's no negative impact on you. It won't overwhelm you. Just make sure that you use it when you feel confident to use it. When you feel confident to pull off all that leather, honey, oak moss. I love actually oak moss. So for me that's a good sign. And that's just still the real power oak moss. Yeah, go away here. Let's take the more difficult one. Why this setting today? It fits the fragrance actually. Could be a sort of a, you know, high-end men's club fragrance as well. Very much suited for that. I'm at home alone today, but I still didn't want to wear it because if I spray this on here and my wife comes home later, then she'll be complaining. So I better went with Lorenzo Villoise's Incensi, which she doesn't like either. So there's not much of a choice there for me, is there? Unless I put on something light. Ha! Doesn't that? Let's try this one. Watch this one. Let's try. No. Wasn't any angle in this. Not even on the way back. So, as you can see, I'm not running on solid one, unfortunately. But anyway, so don't want to take your time away there. Final words on this one. If you like your 80s powerhouse fragrances, go for it. This is a great example on how it should be done. And that's all for me for today. I'll be back, and up until then, I'll continue my practice. What shall I practice? There's no balls left anymore. Okay. It's too bad, baby, too bad. Take care, thanks for watching, and see you soon.